Hey everyone, John Doyle from OptixEQ. It's Tuesday, October the 4th, and I'm going to take a look at OptixPLOT, some potential plays using the plot today. I start off with scan. I don't know if some of you are familiar with scan. You click this button, but what it does is you get this with plot. It just gives you some information about all the races that day in terms of their plot parameters, things like contention, plot fit. So you can filter on this thing. There's, some other, filters here, best plot fit. Talk about plots that are green and have these certain characteristics. They're more reliable. The other one that I like to look at is fast pace scenario. That's sometimes where you can get a potential pace meltdown. And sometimes, they don't always win, but when they win, you can score big. I mean, it's because it's a dynamic that's, you don't see often, where you see a bunch of horses just kind of bunched up, really contending for the lead. They have high contention and the speed, and the race is fast, speed rating's fast, and then something from the back comes, picks up the pieces late as the race collapses. So there's four potentials for today. I kind of looked at these and I thought two of them kind of stood out. The first one was Finger Lakes race 8. I'm going to bring it up. And let me just get to my drawing apparatus. You can see, you got some circles. Oh, my circles. You got a lot of contention. You can see you got a lot of contention in quadrant 1. The contention's high. You got a bunch of horses that are kind of EPPs, no real ease in the race. That's my only concern. But still looks like a race where potentially you at least want to be looking at squares. The 8 is a square on surface distance, but a kind of a circle here is a horse that's kind of going to be forwardly placed. Probably going to be one of the choices. I'm not too crazy about that horse. So, but anyway, you can look at it yourself. I'm just thinking from a plot perspective. You probably do better. So I'm going to start with the squares. Okay, we're going to start first of all with the 9. That's the first square, and this is a horse I do not like. Let me show you why. Let me go to the grid for a second. It's just tricky. This horse is an EP, right? You can see here. So EPs like to be forward. Typically, I don't like these horses in quadrant 3 because, again, the second call is the vertical. So there's a tendency that you're going to have to work hard in the second call. So this square starts to kind of not look like a square anymore, right? Because it's got to work harder to stay close. Probably was in races where this horse was able to stay close without exerting too much in the second call. So that's what that tells me. So typically, those horses I don't like as much unless a quadrant 1 is kind of light, it's empty, and not much in there. Then I like them better because in those scenarios, they may get kind of an easy second call and be able to kick. That's what they like to do, okay? And let me show you something else about the 9 here. Let me just clear out my drawings here. Okay. So let's look at the 9. I'm going to filter on the 9. Yeah. It's got 3 wins. Of course, doesn't, it's not actually a win machine. And, 20 some odd starts. But anyway, it's a crummy race. But I'm going to filter here. I'm going to go all the way to the right. And this is where the horse was in terms of quadrant in the last whatever races. So I'm going to say quadrant 3 because that's where he is today. I'm going to filter on that. And I want to look at all his previous races as a quadrant 3 horse. And you can see trouble keeping up in trouble, kind of. He's not a finisher, so to speak, right? So this kind of confirms my concern about this horse. Now, some of these races were better, some of them were the same level, but it's enough to make me kind of pause and trying to pick this horse who's he's 6-1, but I don't know. I just have a feeling this horse is going to be shorter, coming off a pretty good win, but we'll see. So anyway, a little negative on that square. So that leaves me with the 1, 2, 5 squares that I want to kind of evaluate. The 2 looks like more of a presser, and if the race doesn't, if the speed doesn't hold up, that might be kind of an option. But I think the 1 and the 5 are more of the closer types in this race, and maybe more suited to probably maybe get into the number. So let's look at the 1. This horse kind of ran the same race last time. Got a similar. If you double click this, you get the plot from the last race, and what you'll see is it kind of looks like a similar kind of setup. It's even a little bit less of a setup, but you see it's kind of looks similar to the other plot, right? And he was the 8. So, it looks like the kind of same setup this horse is going to get. Now, he ran second I'm pretty sure, unless I'm misreading the conditions here, he was 20-1 that day, but could he be 20-1 again? I doubt it, but who knows? But he gets a similar setup. He could win this horse. Definitely could factor in the exotics, gets the flow that he wants. So that's a contender, Sleepy Joe. And the other one was the 5. Just got hitched. This horse is 15-1 in the morning line. Just on surface, there's another horse that kind of competes on speed figures. He's had some, even though he's a little bit off the range. I'm going to show you something, because these horses have been running. You see, they've been running with a lot of in 15 days and stuff. So they got a lot of form. So let me just look at I'm gonna look at the filter for the last 45 days, and you can see this horse competes on numbers, right? He's probably close to the top. Best last Optics fig was an 80. So this kind of horse competes here. And he comes out, looks like he comes out of, no, he comes out of his own race, doesn't come out of any kind of common race. So he's the kind of, look, if he's 15-1, obviously you got to take a shot. The other thing I like about him is that he has Jackie Davis, who's one of the most underrated long shot riders in the country. I know she rides in these low tier, but she does ride at Aqueduct sometimes, on and off days from I guess Finger Lakes or whatever is running at that time. And she's always trying, and she's always getting these horses. The horse kind of got a little bit of an improvement pattern too. Coming back in 7 days, it's kind of short, but this field is suspect. So again, Finger Lakes, race 8, looks like off the pace. Of the squares, 1, 2, 5, probably going to lean most on the 1 and 5, but kind of race taking a shot. Watch the board, and could be a big payoff in that race. I'm going to switch now to Mountaineer. Yesterday we kind of got a tough break. I love the horse trying to get back on the turf, and the race got scratched off yesterday. I really like that horse. Just had the right fit, but what are you going to do? Today it's more of a plot play, and you can see there's a lot of contention in this race. There's a lot of horses that are bunched up. You can see their run styles too, kind of all kind of want on or near the lead. Obvious that probably the 2 favorites, 1 and 8, look kind of the best from that early pace, right? Because they're both up and they both are squares. Simple, right? Don't want to complicate it. 3's a little bit of a square, so he may be, I guess, maybe another one to consider. But overall, going to probably stay away from these. Well, unless you're playing exotics and want to use these horses in underneath positions, I understand. But the horse that's really intriguing to me is the number 4, standing way out here. This is kind of you see this very infrequently, a plot like this. And this is kind of like a low closer. So if this race really takes the way we're kind of projecting it to be, there's going to be a lot of contention on the front end, unless the 8 can separate. But even if the 8 separates, there'll still be contention among the other horses. Because the 8, why I say the 8 could maybe potential, because he's the E in this race. Okay, so maybe he just goes. But he's got a deep post, so he's going to have to work. The 1's going to go. We're getting pace in this race. So I think it's going to set up for a horse like the number 4, My Bridget Verdo, whatever how you say that. And so this horse, again, look at the contention, look at the speed rating. This really kind of sets up for that horse. There's really not a lot to say about the form, but I'll go there anyway. This is a horse you just kind of have to kind of like hold your breath and go for it. I guess it's 8-1. My eyes are not the way what they used to be. Let's go look at this horse. Yeah, 8-1 in the morning line. I think you're going to get all of that and plus some. This horse is third, second, third, and last 3 starts, which is good. I mean, that just tells you he can probably get in the money. He's pretty good at 5.5 furlongs. He's never been off the board, so he's got some consistency there. You can see he's been able to come from way off the pace. He actually won on the pace too, so he's not that bad. So if the pace maybe is not that slow, he could be closer. And he is the best finisher in the race by far. You can see the big square here, right? So My Bridget Verdo, I think this horse has got a real look in Mountaineer race 3. Again, watch for the scratches, because it could change the dynamics dramatically. So make sure you evaluate after the scratches. But that looks like a horse that fits a lone closer pattern here at Mountaineer. So that's it for me. Again, check us out this weekend. We'll be doing the Keeneland Focus, the last 5 races in the Pick 5 on Saturday. You get that free with the silver plan. So check it out. And any questions or anything you want, you're interested in following or want brought to light here or a race, let us know. You can reach us at OptixEQ.com. You just go and hit that contact us and you can put in your request. Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone.